let's start off with roll call. Bob?
Here.
Sean?
Here.
Andy?
Here.
Holly?
Here.
Justin is here. We're missing Lucas, Bill, and Richard, but Richard has let me know that he is going to be leaving. And then Bill will be stepping down. He's just not going to re-up his seat. So, has everybody had a chance to look at the minutes?
Yeah, I did.
I'm glad you did, Sean. Did anybody have any questions or any comments or feedback? They looked good to me.
Move to accept the minutes as written.
Can I get a second?
Second.
Okay. Moving to accept the minutes. Oh, Bob,
Yes.
Sean,
Yes.
Holly,
Yes.
Andy,
Yes.
Justin is a yes. Minutes are accepted as written. Sean, on the minutes, have you heard anything back? Is the clerk all good on all of our minutes? I know you.
As of now, yes, we should be up to date.
Give it till next meeting, and then we'll be told we're missing some.
Well, I'll try to touch base. I generally put a little byline in there, say, hey, please let me know you received this, and I'll touch base with them again.
Okay. I really think that the biggest problem that we had was when the town moved over to the new website.
Okay.
I'm thinking that maybe some of them got lost during that transition because that's when it happened. And when I know that beforehand we were good. But just trying to close the loop on that. All right. So hitting up the agenda, Holly, how did our food drive go?
So the food drive was so I think pretty good for only a couple weeks compared to the duration we had before, which was I think over a month. So I pretty much had my Hyundai Accent for comparison filled with product to bring over. Tons of toiletries, tons of food. There wasn't as much food as last go, so I didn't split it against the Grafton Food Bank. Something to consider later, but me and my son drove up to Gardner, but they were super excited that the place out there is gorgeous.
It is.
Such great staff. And they were so happy to receive it. So I'm currently working with Joan right now just to make sure we don't conflict with their next veteran type item. I think we're going to be the runners of the actual drive. But we just want to confirm the dates because, to be honest, the churches have been the most product in. I didn't see, I left nothing there. I left a box at, I'm trying to remember. I know it wasn't fire, but there was, so we didn't really
Holly, you're coming in really broken.
Let me stop my video. Can you hear me now?
Yep.
Okay, sorry. So where do I have to start off?
You were talking about going up there. It was beautiful, and that you had it was shortly after that. I kind of lost you. You were talking about something with a box, and it was around that part that I got lost.
Okay, the original flyer really had the three churches: St. James, Phillips, and Mary's.
Yeah.
And then we had a box at GCTV, and then we had a box at Unibank. That was on the flyer. One of my friends got another box going at Stop and Shop off the record, and unfortunately, I didn't see anything from Stop and Shop. Unibank was empty, and then I can't speak to GCTV. So, Bob, I'm not sure if you had anything else other than the first aid kits. Over.
No, just the first aid kits, and they're not a perishable item, so we can get them on the next go around.
Yeah. So my oh, sorry.
Holly, there were no boxes at either American Legion or VFW.
Yeah, so that's like my proposal for the future is branching out to kind of include more, but also I, unfortunately the last food drive we only had I think like 2.5 weeks. It wasn't as long as the last. So I think before Bob can speak to this, we had his whole conference room filled and the
Yeah.
Boy Scouts were able to have an opportunity to help check expiration dates, all that. I'm proposing back to Joan, who is the Veterans Advisory Committee member for the church, that, you know, let's have a longer duration. And I'm hoping to start this like from July through August, but I just haven't heard back from Joan. So I'm just trying to deconflict any stuff they have going on with the churches because they have been the largest. Not saying the vets in the future or the, you know, would not be a good turnout, but I just want to make sure we're planning a longer event and hopefully I can have more at actually before the July meeting and be better prepared for the next
Okay.
food and
Well-
foliage drive.
And I'm good if you want to wait until like September.
Yeah.
You know, if you want to take a pause and I know that, you know, you and I have talked, I know that you've got some stuff going on personally. So if you want to take a pause and work with Joan and come up with a better time, we can reach out to Carmen and the VFW. And then as far as Stop and Shop goes, I think the meet and greet, I think y'all did pretty good during that meet and greet as well. And it was
Yeah,
a
we
good
did.
chance to meet with everyone. So maybe then, you know, we just go with those. We don't worry about Unibank or GCTV box. I mean, although the GCTV box is pretty easy because Bob's there. But, you know, we don't worry about those other places that aren't really producing for us. And we just focus on the things that work.
Did we have any problem with any box being filled up so they couldn't put any more in it?
No, so what we did was Joan's feedback from the church is, to be honest, my son's actually got his permit and driving, so it was kind of a good opportunity. Every couple days, we just drive down and check it out. So there was no issue there, and that's going to continue on until he gets his license. You know, hope everything, you know, the more practice he gets, the better. So it's no issue to me. And the only time I'm going away in July is the end of the last week of the month. But I can definitely see how Joan feels and reconvene with everybody to see what the best time frame is.
Yeah,
But
that works.
there's cool. So that's my, does any other questions? Because that's my big thing. But definitely I love the VFWs. That would be awesome if we can put a box there at multiple, like South Grafton and Grafton. So
Any other questions or comments? All right. Andy, we'll turn it over to you. How did the Memorial Day parade?
Memorial
out.
Day Parade went well. The new route is accepted by all, especially the Boy Scouts and Girl Scouts who for the first time could actually hear what was going on. And they're excited about coming next year. We had 2 Boy Scout troops. We had the 2019, which what they're telling me is a Boy Scout Girl Scout troop, and we had a number of Girl Scout troops. I'm not sure on exactly how many because there's about 12 of them. But comments from the parents of the kids. The only comment we had negative was the speaker system was not turned up loud enough for the first reader. She did a nice job, as did the gentleman that read the America's Answer. The proposal that I had with the scouts with regard to the readings, everyone was happy with the result. There being Girl Scouts, Boy Scouts, and about 7 or 8 troops responding. I had 2 readings. Very difficult to pick one over the other. So I chose to send a general email to all participants that wanted to present a reader. And they were to respond to me and tell me if they wanted to do a reading. That the two that responded at 106 and one of the Girl Scout troops responded, and we assigned the first and the second reading, the Flanders Field and the Americans Answer, to them. And then the third person that actually responded to me was kind of left out in the breeze, and wanting to make sure that there were readers available for, in any case, somebody gets sick at the last minute, you don't have a reading. I asked Troop 107, which was the third one that responded to my email, to prepare to read either if someone in primary couldn't do the reading. It did not materialize, but we were covered. I don't have a negative.
That's good. I'm glad to hear that. I'm glad we fixed the times. It didn't look
Yes,
like it affected anything. It was a huge
that
turnout.
was a friggin' horror show. Excuse
Yeah.
me.
I called Carmen right after that meeting. And I was like, you realize that there are 3 times going around, man. We're going to try to help you out with this and get it straightened out. So we got it all sorted out, but
Hands in the pie.
so but yeah, the turnout was great. Boy Scouts, Girl Scouts was great. A lot of people out in the comments. So I'm glad to hear it was good. And
Justin, we should invite Jeff to the meeting. He showed up a little while ago.
so, all right. Any questions, comments on the Memorial Day parade? Memorial Day activities. I should stop calling it a parade because there's a lot of events going on. All right. So Jeff, I'm going to put you on the spot. I don't know if you had a chance to look at the agenda beforehand, but can you give us a little bit of rundown on the veterans property tax relief? I know Sean was talking to you about this.
Sure. Yeah. There's just any veteran can apply for a property tax relief as long as they have a 1 to 99% disability rating. They get, I believe it's a sliding scale of the 1,000. And then at 100%, they get $1,000 off their property tax. If there's accessibility modifications to the house, they would be eligible for $1,500. So it's run through the state. It's not just the town that controls it, but I think each town is a little bit different in what percentage they give.
Okay. Yeah, I know for Grafton it's 1,000, and then they go up to 1,000 as your property taxes update.
Okay.
You can get an additional up to $1,000 off too. So you could end up with $2,000 off your property taxes.
Yep. And then there's the senior work-off program as well. That not just veterans, but the leaf collection spot is run by the senior work-off. The clerk's office might have someone in there, and there's also an option for a veteran work-off. They have to be a veteran and own a property in Grafton. That there's never been any interest in it when I talked to Tammy, the assessor. But there could be some wiggle room where they work out of my office, but maybe help the committee out with some projects. It seems like we might, as long as they're in the town, we don't have them run into Northbridge to do something, or it's got to be done in Grafton.
Jeff,
We might be able to make it work if there's a veteran that wants to do it.
can they get both? Can they get the work off and the veterans disability?
I believe so. I mean, I don't see why.
Jeff, you're coming in broken.
I could ask.
Jeff, you were really broken on that.
If Is that any better?
Yes, yes.
Okay.
On the move.
I'm in the little guy's room.
That's how you do it.
right,
Multitask. Yeah, that's better.
All right, so I will ask about the veteran tax abatement and the senior work off. I can't think of a reason why they wouldn't. I know there's some state benefits you can't double dip, but maybe that's not one of them.
Any other questions or comments on the tax, Sean?
I would like to see if we can find someone that would be interested in doing this. And maybe they're not actively doing it at this time. However, if we have a body in place, and then, for example, when we're going to do something, be it the food drive or something else that, or sending out letters, for example, where we needed bodies to help with some of the mailings and such. If we have someone say, okay, now we have a task for you this week, call that specific person, and they come to Jeff's office and they, handle some of that stuff for us, as opposed to waiting, us trying to pull together people to get it done for us. I don't know if that makes
I
sense
like
or
that
not.
idea. Yeah, no, I like that idea. Just helping out the committee. Jeff, it made it sound like that was a possibility. So,
So my question would be, maybe there was never interest in it because it wasn't really put out there that much. I mean,
Yeah.
a lot of people know about senior work off through the town, but I think some people feel that the time they have to commit to isn't worth the benefit that they're getting. But maybe it's the same thing but different. And if we can get the word out to veterans, maybe we'll get a couple of people that would be interested.
well, and I agree. I don't know if this is widely advertised, because if you remember, there was a gentleman from the VFW, David, I believe it was his name, that used to
Yeah.
work up there with Justin.
Dave Callahan.
Yes. And I don't know if he ever got this. And Justin's the one that set this up. So it might be, hi. It might be the fact that they, it's just never been used. So we don't have anybody that says, hey, this is an easy thing for you to do.
Right. Then I agree with you, Justin. I think that's more the point, or more the case. It was never discussed or put out there. So,
All right.
Some of the senior workout program comments I've heard in the past where it's too much like work. I mean, really, they give you hours from 9 to 2 or something like that. And it might be every day, or it might be a couple days a week. But they said they're not interested because it's too much like work.
Yeah.
Yeah. They want the benefit, but they don't want to necessarily do that much work to get it.
That makes
So
sense.
it's
I could
supposed to
see
be
that
100.
if the commitment, if the commitment is a long time.
20
So let's
hours.
say if you work it out, so in the end you're getting paid $5 an hour, then obviously it's not worth it.
No.
So that it would have to have, in my opinion, it would have to have a finite number of hours
Yes,
for the amount of relief that you're going to be getting.
correct.
All right, well, I think we
you
need
have to
to,
work like 125 or 120 hours, Sean, and you get an X amount of money off of your bill.
okay. All right,
Like
well,
a part-time job.
let's see if we can flesh this out some more before we really start,
Yeah.
advertising it.
Because with Dave doing work up there for the for Justin, that that was kind of the perfect thing. He was doing it for volunteer, but if he could get
Right.
this work off and then be available for things like this, then that would be great.
Yeah, I thought of Dave, but he doesn't own a property, so he doesn't.
Oh.
He just likes volunteering.
Yeah.
Okay. Are there any other questions or comments on the tax relief? All right. Jeff, I'm going to throw you under the bus again. You sent me an email, and unfortunately, I was
Yeah.
already doing the agenda on the Hometown Heroes banners. This is something that has been kind of always on the back burner, but we've been trying to get established, so we haven't really moved forward with it. So I'm interested to hear your ideas.
Yeah, so the rec department, when I first got hired, said the infrastructure is already there. What we would mostly have to come up with is the application process, design a banner. And in the other towns, it's I'm a jungle gem. It's an in-kind kind of service for the DPW to hang the banners. There's no cost other than, what the town pays to put them up, but the money, the $150 donation from the family covers the cost of the banner.
Yep.
I know in Westboro, they designed their own in conjunction. Sorry, can you hear me? I'm getting a internet disruption.
Yeah, it was a little warbly, but you're good now.
All right. So, we designed the banner. I think in Northborough, they do not ask for any DD 214, or I think the $150 fee deters, any stolen valor questions. You can use a service picture, maybe keep it at that.
Yeah.
If you're getting a photo from Iraq or in their dress uniform, in my mind, that would cut it.
Okay.
But we could come up with some type of parameter, and it's obviously any groundwork to get going, I'll help with, but just the management of it. And I think, and partly collecting the money and then keeping it. I think there's some things I'm not allowed to do as far as raising money. That's why in every town, it's usually not the veteran service officer running the program.
Right.
I think in Marlboro, the city just pays for it. They work it into their DPW budget and they pay for the banners. And maybe they just have a rotating, but that's a city budget, not a town. But two other towns do it, and it's the Boroughs Cares for Troops and the Westboro Veterans Advisory Board manage the program.
Okay.
And it was actually Joan from the Veterans Ministry that brought it up.
Maybe that's okay. So I suggest I've got some information on this that Justin shared. I've kind of messed around with some of it. There was I think it was Westboro had a charter. And I've been kind of rewriting that off and on. So I can share that with everybody over email, except for Andy, because he blocks my email.
I don't know where it goes.
I don't know either. It goes into your trash. I've got that set up for my boss at work.
I've got through.
I know that. I was like, Bob, send this, please. But no, so I could share it, and then we can take a look at it, and we can figure out how we want to do this, and put it on the agenda for July, and we can actually have an in-depth discussion. And Jeff, if you have any more information than the email, feel free to send it out to everyone, and we can all get on the same page. Bob?
So this also sounds like it should be a daytime meeting with Evan so that we can get some clarification for Jeff. And I mean,
Yeah,
it's one thing for us to administer the program, but we don't want to step off on the wrong foot right from the get-go, we want to be within parameters, so.
Yeah.
I spoke with both Evan and William, and we'd have their full support.
But their support is great, but as far as the.
Oh, right. The DPW help and
So what I'd like to do before we meet with Evan, Bob, is let's hash out some more of the details to figure out how we want to do it. The banner, and is it just the cost of the banner? Do we request the 214? There's some details that I kind of want to talk through first. So then when we go in front of Evan, we can say, okay, look, here's the plan. Here's what we need the help is how do we collect this money? And maybe Joan's the way. If she's getting that up and we say, hey, we're going to partner with this outside organization and do it that way, so then we just kind of keep the government out of it. Jeff, we're about to get funding supposedly, and so I'm just also kind of afraid of all of a sudden all this money coming our way, and
Yep.
we don't have a treasurer yet. We got to get that sorted out and how we're going to manage that. So it might be too much money coming our way. I'm afraid that something accounting error could happen that gets me in jail.
yeah, in Westboro, there's a revolving fund account that the VAB can just pull Hometown Hero money out of. That's the only thing they're allowed to touch it for. Other than that, they don't have a budget. They submit everything through me.
All right. Awesome. Any other questions on this? All right. I took note that we'll add it to the next month's agenda, and we'll get out some more information over email. Andy, no, Bob told me that you had something that you wanted to bring up.
Yeah, Jeff and I and a few other people have been working on something in the last basically 10 days. We had a situation in town where one of our veterans fell. He hit his head. We don't know if he had a stroke and fell and caused a stroke, but he had a brain bleed. He was transported to UMass. They determined they did not have a surgeon on call. And they did have an operating room, but no surgeon. He was flown via med flight, a life flight or whatever, from UMass to Brigham and Women's Hospital in Boston for an emergency surgery that relieved the pressure in his brain. They did at that time determine that he had a stroke and lost most of his right side, somewhat temporarily, we hope. In any case, I found out about it the day afterwards through a conversation I had with post commander of VFW, who's a very good friend of this individual. I asked him if he had told the wife about calling the emergency number that VA provides to veterans that have emergency needs. He didn't know what I was talking about. I called her directly. It took a day and a half or so for her to finally come home and answer her, get her answering machine going and answer some inquiries. But I notified her of a request of a requirement by VA to contact in an emergency situation, emergency room. You could be cut, you could be not breathing, you could have had a heart attack, whatever the reason. Emergency services are required. VA wants you to notify them through a community care national call center. They give you peace of mind that VA will pay for emergency services if they're notified within 72 hours of an emergency. Now, this individual, I know just retired. She does have a certain amount of insurance, but we figured out that the emergency transfer down to Boston is about 30,000, something to that effect. The emergency room and emergency services is probably up close to 400,000. That's not kind of insurance that most people carry. You don't want to be selling your house, your car, and everything you own to pay for something like that. So it's very important to take advantage of VA's offer. Now, I called that number a few hours or so after I spoke to the veteran's wife, and I wanted to know specifically what they would have asked a wife or something else that is reporting of their veteran is in emergency care. Very, very simply, they said, we want the full veteran's name. That's easy. We want the full date of birth. We want the last four of the social. We want things like what hospital, what city, what state, what type of emergency, how did the veteran get to the emergency facility, the date and time services started. So all of that information is required by VA when you make that phone call. Now, to make things easier, I went out and looked at VA's guideline on community care. I read the document. It's about 7 or 8 pages long. And what I did was came up with a wallet card. And on said wallet card, I don't know if I can show. Okay, maybe it'll show up on this thing. I don't know how well my maybe you can read it, maybe you can't. I don't know.
Yeah.
In any case, it's too small to read. What it basically says is a veteran treated at a civilian emergency facility or someone acting on their behalf must call VA's Community Care National Emergency Call Center within 72 hours after you fill in lines 4 to 7 on the back. Now, 4 to 7 on the back of the card says, again, full name, date of birth, SSN, type of emergency, hospital, city, state, how taken to the hospital, date and time emergency care started. The person calling should find out this information before making the call, because VA is requesting one call be made. Okay, now in the event that some of this information is not available, they will give the person making the phone call a confirmation number, and they should write the confirmation number on the back of this card. Then they know they can call the number again with that confirmation number and not have to recreate the wheel. Okay. So I put these things on what I call wallet cards. I don't know. There we go. Wallet cards. One is the information what to call, and the other is the information that VA is going to ask every time. Okay. Now, right now it's on paper. It's not very durable, but I passed a few of these things out to guys that have had emergency services in the past. And it's not one-time deal. If you have multiple, if you're under dialysis and you have some kind of problem where you have to go emergency services frequently, each time you go, that VA will cover it if you call and tell them about the emergency within 72 hours. It's a pretty good deal.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, I talked to Jeff and I talked to his assistant, Ashley, and I have I was using an Avery template on my printer to create these cards. And I'm looking for a way to put this on a hard card, something you can, it's more durable than paper, put in your wallet. But if we looked at maybe laminating one side, but the side you have to write on, if you laminate, you can't write on it. Okay. And again, if you use the card one time, it's one time. Go to VA, go to one of the posts and get another pair of cards. Because if you get called again, you can use it again.
So-
What I'm looking, maybe for us, is can we, I don't know, Jeff, how many veterans we would give these things to or make them available to? Or perhaps you could use it as when you welcome a veteran to town, maybe you could put that in the packet you give them. You know? It's a way of getting the information out. Can
Sean,
we-
you had something.
Can we pay for paper to put these hard cards on? Is my point to VAC.
If we had money, I don't see a reason why we couldn't. But before we get too deep, Sean, you had something, and then Bob, I see you have your hand raised.
Well, I was simply going to say that something like that, Andy, a question like that, I typically run through the secretary in either the clerk's office or the TA's office. And the office people they know how to do all that, the Avery templates and such as that. I think if you were to just give them a rough draft, ask them how it can be put together on the wallet card or whatever size you're talking about, ask that question of them first. And then if there's a cost, they'll tell you about it. And as Justin mentioned, maybe in the next fiscal year, we will have funding for things of that nature. And I would say, we just blankets, pick a number and start handing them out or leaving them, at the different posts and let people pick them up.
Well,
Or maybe that's a way for us to
with each
add it
card,
to our next letter that we send out to all the veterans.
yeah, with each,
One more nugget of information in that letter might garner a reply card return or a phone call back to us, that type of thing. And again, so that's it for now.
Jeff's Ashley and Jeff's office is more or less done that a little bit. What I'm looking at is, do we want to fund this thing, or we want to push it out to VA? Maybe it's something they want to do. I think it has bearing to every veteran. And the only caveat that is in this thing, it's gotta be in veteran services. It's gotta be in VA. Okay? For them to pay all of the fees. But even if you're late, even if someone is late and they don't get the information to VA within 72 hours, they still want to pay something.
Yeah.
It's prorated to how long it takes you to notify them.
Bob,
So I think we all know that the town's not gonna charge us to use the copier or the printer in the.
Yeah.
No.
So we can probably print them off like Sean suggested. The idea that I had while Andy was talking about this was that we could probably get the company that the town uses to print forms. The name of the company escapes me. I think they're based in Millbury. Maybe we could get them to donate the work and do them for us. And the other idea I had was, instead of making wallet cards, maybe they could make up like a notepad where you could just rip off the sheet as you need it. And
The thing with the wallet card, it's with the veteran when he goes in, and my instructions say to the veteran to take 2 of these cards, fill out the back, the importance of your full name, the date of birth, and the social, the last 4 of the social. That's on every card. Give one to your spouse or someone else who is going to act in your behalf if you have an emergency, and keep one yourself. If you're able to take emergency treatment and do it yourself, you've got the card right there and all the information that you need to produce.
so what I'm driving at here is that we don't have to get involved in how the sausage is made. If we made them up into pads and got them into the hands of the veterans, they've got them readily available. They don't have to search it all over for them. And then, yeah, Andy, you're right. They could, tear 2 or 3 of them off and throw them in the wallet. And they always know where they are. The second part of that idea was that, have we given any thought to National Night Out is coming out and at the police department parking lot right in front of the TV studio, and maybe we should talk to Chief Crapo and set up a tent and promote this idea. And then in the meantime, while we're waiting to get these things printed up or getting somebody to donate their services, maybe somebody can man a table and hand these things out to veterans and say, if you need an emergency here, take this with you. And
Right. Like I said, I have a an explanation sheet here with the card as you pick up the 2 cards, and it tells you exactly why and everything about the program that you need to know. Okay, nothing special. It doesn't. You don't have to read reams of paper to find out why VA does this.
So Andy, if you want to email that out to everyone, the explanation sheet and then the wallet cards that you have.
Yep.
So then we all have it. And then, Bob, I like the idea of National Night Out might be a good opportunity.
when
is that again?
People that show up to that thing.
Yeah. When is National Night Out?
First Tuesday in August.
First Tuesday in August, something like that.
Okay. Jeff, you had something.
Yeah, I got the conference I went to in February. Someone posed it to the VA. Could the veteran health ID card trigger this type of service? And it sounds like a great idea, but we know, the VA's got bigger fish to fry right now, but
Yeah.
it would be great. You have your ID card, it gets swiped at the emergency department, it automatically goes to the VA. But I think in the meantime, Andy's idea is a good fill.
One thing I put on this instruction sheet is that if your emergency treatment is in a VA facility, do not assume that they will notify the VA call center for you. Okay, even though you're in a VA facility, you would hope that they would do that. Okay, but I've heard instances where they have not actually done it. So
Okay.
National Night Out is Tuesday, August 1st. It starts at 5 p.m. Civilian.
August what again?
August 1st, Tuesday, August 1st, 5 p.m.
Okay. I'll throw that on our July agenda to see if we want to have a table. I still have all the DAV stuff. I still have all the things that that I've been gathering. So we'll have plenty of information that we can hand out during that time, as well as our sign up forms. So yeah, so
Okay.
Andy, if you want to send that out to us, then we can get it printed out.
I'll forward what I have and maybe if you want to change the wording on it or whatever.
Okay.
Before we produce it in mass, make sure we're all on the same page.
Yeah, no, great work. Thank you for doing that, Andy.
Okay.
I didn't even know about that.
Like I said, one of the comments I think we had in our meet and greet said something about a veteran taking advantage of VA care. Okay, I'm understanding through VA that you do not have to have a disability rating to take advantage of VA care.
So Jeff, correct me if I'm wrong, you have to have a rating. It can be 0%, but no, it has to be tied to a disability within that you received from the military unless you're at 100%, correct?
Well, you can apply for healthcare, but there's income considerations. It's for the lower income. There doesn't have to be a disability. But to get service at a VA, you have to either be enrolled in the healthcare or have a disability. You just can't go in because you're a veteran and get something.
You have to apply. And there is a means test if there's a question on how much income you have and that kind of stuff.
But so one of the things that, and I know that we were talking about Champ VA and VA healthcare. One of the things that I wanted to make clear is that it is two separate things. You know, like my disability, because your spouse can also apply for Champ VA, but just because I have a disability and I have VA healthcare because of it does not mean that my wife has it. She would have to apply for Champ VA. So there's those intricacies that I've seen people get confused over when they just say, I can get VA healthcare. Well, it depends. Do you have a disability or are you applying for Champ VA? Because there's two different processes.
Stoney, you are 20-year Air Force, you're retired, you probably have eligibility toward TRICARE. Okay, and your wife can have TRICARE as well.
Yep.
Okay, if you have TRICARE, you're not eligible for Champ VA.
That is correct.
Parallel program, you can have one or the other.
Yep.
I don't know that I think the veteran has VA care and the wife has Champ VA. And what Champ VA says, it requires you to have Medicare A and B.
Yep.
And Champ VA then becomes the secondary, the final payer. There's no, after it goes to A and B and the left goes to Champ VA. And if there's anything left to be paid, the veteran or the spouse is does not have to pay it.
That's correct. And that's how TRICARE is as well.
Yeah.
So awesome. Great information. Does anybody have any other questions, comments? Anything else they want to bring up or put on the July agenda?
I was just saying, are you guys getting ready to wrap up? I say I gotta sign off.
Yeah. We're just going to talk about when our next meetings are and then.
Okay.
Thank
Well,
you for
thanks
joining
the
us, Jeff.
time. We'll see you later.
Yeah.
Bye, Jeff.
Sean, did you have something you wanted to bring up?
I'd like us to try to put a date to the walk that we talked about holding. I know Columbus Day is October 9th. And then you're going to have daylight savings time is early in November. I think we have one more year of daylight savings time. So I'd like to see us, like I said, pick a date and that'd be one more thing that we can add to a flyer or whatever we might be handing out when we're table sitting National Night Out.
What date do you want to use?
Well, I said in my opinion anyway, between October 9th and before November 5th, which is daylight savings time.
Okay.
Because I'm thinking, the fall, the weather's a little more predictable.
Yeah.
We could maybe
Nice
try
weather.
for an evening instead of a morning walk. An evening walk might, who knows, whatever.
Right,
So
I'll check with recreation and see how it matches up with their calendar. So
okay, sure. I mean, school will be back in session. People will be back in town.
No, I think
And
it's a
the
good time.
The leaves around Lake Ripple will be starting to turn. Yeah, all of the above.
Awesome.
Okay.
Anything else? All right. Our next meeting for the Veterans Advisory Committee will be Thursday, July 20th. And the next meeting for trustees of soldiers and sailors will be Tuesday, July 18th. So they'll be the same week, one on Tuesday, one on Thursday. We're going to try out this new stuff.
Sorry about this, but I have a conflict in the sense, oh, wait, no, I'm sorry. No, I will be in town. Okay. Cancel that thought. I'll be in town. I'm going out of town the next week.
Sean, you just want the spotlight on you. That's all that it is right now.
Hey, what can I say? I'll
All right.
do an Andy. Hey.
There you
Be nice.
Oh, Nothing but love in this committee.
Uh,
Okay.
Listen,
Motion to
All
adjourn.
right.
All right, I have a motion to
Second.
adjourn. Can I get a second?
Second,
All right, vote to adjourn the meeting, Bob,
Aye.
John,
aye.
Andy,
I.
Holly,
Aye.
Justin is an aye as well. So this meeting is adjourned.